What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we're going to be unraveling myself. I'm happy to have my good friend Zach here, unraveling a little bit of his self as well. We had a conversation earlier today I'd like to talk a little bit more about. Just talking about addiction. I noticed recently I have fallen back into some food addiction. I felt myself craving food and needing food to relieve a lot of my anxiety. It has a lot to do with the tough situation I've been going through in my life, and I know food addiction plagues everyone, doesn't it? I mean, you've had struggling with that, and you were telling me that you have one of the most addictive personality types that you know of, right?
Yeah. So I like doing different personality tests, and both off the top of my head, my Myers-Briggs and my Enneagram both are characterized as the highest level of addiction.
Yeah.
So, yes, I've always kind of been fueled by radical amounts of things, and that's not just food and substances. But I mean, and I'm saying not food and substances, or not just food and substances, but stuff like running, or different
working out, television,
exactly,
media, maybe gratification with friends, social gratification.
Yep.
Need to fit in.
Definitely. So, but I would say that food and some of the more stagnant lifestyle choices are the harder ones to escape from, because they take you to a place where you have minimal activation potential. And
what does that mean?
Well, just the ability, like any activity takes a certain amount of activation power
To start it?
Exactly.
Okay.
So anytime that we switch from one task to the next, once we are engaged in a task, it doesn't really take that much energy to sustain it.
It's like static friction, almost. And then there's static friction is always higher, at least in physics. Static friction is always higher than kinetic friction.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. I like the way you put that.
Yeah. So if we lose our ability to act, or that ability to overcome that necessary activation power for something else, then we're going to usually get stuck in whatever we're currently doing. So stuff like eating to excess is going to fatigue us.
Yes.
And for me, that pairs well with other stagnant lifestyle choices.
Yeah, like TV, you were saying.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that creates this negative feedback loop where you're sedated, so you sit down and watch TV, and then you're more sedated and bored, and you need to eat, and
exactly.
then the cycle continues. And then that energy required, the activation energy, as you say, to get out of that cycle of binge eating and watching binge Netflixing, it's hard. But I notice a difference too when I'm waking up early, when I'm doing my journal every morning, when I'm working out in the morning. There's so much more you can get done and take on in the day, and all those little things, they affect us so profoundly. We have all these little I call them positive or negative spirals. Anything in this world that can send you in a positive direction or a negative direction. So we've got to be diligent and do what we can to help ourselves and help others too.
Definitely. Well, I mean, and you just kind of highlighted something there. Whenever you start your mornings right, and that's because you're kind of like slicking the tracks, and building that momentum before you get into any of the tasks.
Yeah.
And so then this allows us to much more easily, jump in. And that is definitely an issue that I have found, is whenever I fall into one of these slumps, I usually like, all right, well, tomorrow's a new day. Today's exactly. And I kind of just like throw in the towel, which has been something I've been trying to fight recently. So, because I do also believe that part of that inability to regain my day is just, the self-limiting story that I've kind of conditioned myself to say every time I fall into these, negative routines. So, and I mean, I think that, like anything, if we kind of take a pause from whatever it is that is draining us, then we should be able to, recharge and in that time, and not necessarily have to wait until the next day. It's just going to be, it's obviously much easier to start your day and be like, okay, well, I'm gonna, get to breath work or working out or something, that immediately kind of gets you going, but not like a 2-hour gym, but something that just gets our blood pumping and kind of fine tunes our attention. And so then we can,
attention and intention, I would say.
Definitely.
Our intention for the day, if our intention is to be productive, to actually do that. I think when we think about addiction and we think about these negative behaviors, I think one thing we need to think about is why we're doing it, right? Like why, I know why I was falling back into just getting addicted to Triscuits and hummus and bread and all these simple carbs. Vegan's dream, Triscuits and hummus.
Woo!
And, but the reason was there's this deep down emotional, like I had stuff I had to look at inside myself. I had stuff I have to work on. I have stuff I need to do. And I was just, I think a lot of it for me personally is fear of failure, and just fear to even start that. And then I'm stuck on the couch. I'm stuck with that high activation energy required to get going. And it's interesting too, even in the last few months, I've made a lot of connections with some awesome people in Denver and Boulder with ecstatic dance. And then the more momentum I have in the positive, the more feedback I get from people telling me I'm doing the right thing, the universe is telling me I'm on the right path, and I can carry that momentum forward in a positive way. So there's just so much, like I don't want to say inertia, I think is the right word, to overcome, because we live in like an unenlightened state of society, and we've all been distracting ourselves with TV, with food, with whatever it is, so we don't have to face these emotions that we aren't even fully aware that they're there, but they're there, and and we want to sit on the couch and not confront all that shit.
So talking about, what I heard was a little glimpse of self-sabotage. I think we all face it, and for a really long time I used to be in sales, and I'd line up these huge meetings that it was just like, man, if I close this is gonna be like, I won't have to work for the next year. And without fail, every single time I had lined up one of those big meetings, I like went out and partied the night before, and would go into these meetings just like hungover,
tired,
just like hurting, feeling like, and I could say even recently, like with the podcast been working on, been getting nothing but like praise and
positive
exactly. And then it was something really stupid, like what was it, the website, running into website issues, a arena that I'm not super familiar with, that like I would contribute like to playing a part in my past week of like kind of being in a slump. And it was just like, all right, well, I'm gonna stop working right now and I'm gonna go relax. And I think relaxing turned into like having a beer, and then like eating, falling off my diet, and then that just kind of like happened every day. Like I would wake up in the morning and be like, well, I did it last night.
I'm still on this break. I still need this break from confronting this issue that's difficult to deal with, but then it's making it even harder to deal with it, right?
Definitely. And so anyway, I guess the best thing I could say for both of us is really looking, if it's fear of failure that's causing the self-sabotage, really taking a look at what we're afraid of. Like, what does failure mean? And
that's a good question.
Because if we really explore that, failure really isn't going to set us back. If anything, we're going to be further ahead.
Because we're learning
from
our mistakes.
And so if you can take the time to recognize that, then you realize the only failure that's taking place is your inactivity, and so going after it, there's nothing but gain.
So start by starting. Start your day right. And I think one thing I've been thinking about here with this whole conversation, just to kind of wrap it up, it seems like mental health, spiritual health, it's a lot like physical health. And if you're in shape, it's easy to go for that run. Those first steps are easy. But if you're out of shape, it's hard to get back into shape. But we just have to remember it's possible to get into shape. It's possible to get into good mental health, good spiritual health. It is possible. And when it is, it's just as easy as if you're a good runner and going for a run every day, I think. I don't know if I'm even there yet. I know what it's like to be an athlete and be in good shape. So I think that's a good analogy.
If a party note on that is if you find yourself in a place that you need to start doing something, start with something fun. Like if you are trying to change anything in your life, do it with grace and like curiosity. Don't do something that is going to be a chore every second that you're applying yourself at this thing. And just like an instant, if you hate running, then don't run, like dance, go do something, go to a boxing class, go to yoga, like do something that engages all of you rather than pushes you further inside your head and just wanting to escape whatever it is you're doing, because that is most definitely going to end in a failure and future slump. So
yeah, I'm all about working out outside. I mean, look at us out here, rock climbing, doing it, total body. Anyway, this is TC. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for Zach. I'll put a link up to his information. He's got an awesome podcast he's been working on. It's in the works. It'll be out soon. Peace.